Okay, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me and my team for today, the first session of Breaking Through. I'm excited because you're actually fulfilling part of my dream, which is to someday see all Filipinos live fruitful lives. I'd like to say special thank muna dun sa team who helped me. When I conceived the idea last February, I shared this to my friends. And I just really thought it would be a simple project na gagawin namin sa Similya. But to my surprise, God sent me a lot of people na talagang tumulong. And in fact, I was telling this team which we call the Similya Movement, sabi ko, yung simple kong plano, pinagulo ninyo. Pero pinagulo ninyo in a nice way because I'm amazed at the talent that have come together to really fulfill this. So I'd like to say special thank you kay Cecil Sibayan, kay Ito Gruet, kay Lucy Lopez, kay Richard Leonzo, at Richard Tan, and because they were very, very active. And also I'd like to thank my team for really taking over. So ngayong araw na to, we will do the first session of Breaking Through. Ang hope namin is to transform people, to build their character, to make them fruitful, and also impact the organizations that they represent. Before we start, let me just share with you certain things na siguro babantayin niya during this session. In order to prevent any lag sa pag-stream ng message, I decided to pre-record the video kasi dito sa amin sa Bukidnon medyo napuputol-putol ang internet. So I decided to send the video kay Lloyd Salarda, who is taking care of our videos and also our Zoom event. And then siya ang magpapakita ng recorded video. I will be here. I will be here continually until the end, and I will do question and answer mamaya. And then, can you do me a favor? If you feel that this can help your friends, especially sa Facebook Live, can you start tagging friends? Tell them about this. We will start this event before the lesson. We will start with a testimony, a video testimony of one of my very good friends, si Richard Dioncho. Let me just give you a background why I asked Richard to do a testimony. I met Richard Dioncho in 2017, and the company was very, very small. He had like 20 employees. Before the pandemic, he had 50 employees. And then during the pandemic, he decided to implement some of our values formation program inside his company. And after the pandemic, lumaki yung kumpanya to over 200 employees. So I'd like you to hear his testimony and how the values formation that God has allowed me to develop help the company, because yun ang gusto natin, to help all of you. So I'd like to turn over to the screen to Lloyd and para mag-share siya sa video ni Richard Dioncho.
Cultivate your values like a garden. Nurture them with intention and care, for they will become like roots that will anchor your character and guide your actions.
Hi, my name is Richard Dioncho. I am the President and CEO of VAPIA, one of the pioneering organizations that helps companies in their digital transformation journey.
I have known Kuya Dodong since 2015. I have attended his numerous trainings and seminars, most notably the business development training, which was held in farm setting in Bukidnon. Kuya Dodong is a teacher, a mentor, and a friend to me. The principles I learned in his trainings are the bedrock of how I run my business today. While companies were downsizing, if not closing during the pandemic, the learnings applied in the business allowed VAPIA to not only grow but also thrive during this pandemic. These learnings were fundamental in growing our company culture, so much so that we were recognized as a great place to work in 2022 and this year, 2023. While companies and business owners allocate substantial resources towards growing and enhancing job-related skills, it is imperative for organizations to grasp the equal importance of fostering their employees' character and values development. Values, ethics, and morals are indispensable in shaping our character and guiding our actions. We are now reaping the fruits of our investment in values formation. We have a stronger leadership and management team. I have seen breakthroughs in the professional careers of our employees. But the most satisfying of all is when I see these values transcend from work over to their personal lives, seeing them impacting their families, their friends, and their sphere of influence. As they flourish, their achievements and success will inevitably lead to the success of the organization, forging a mutually beneficial cycle. I want to encourage you to attend this values formation training and the other trainings of Kuya Dodong.
If you don't mind, I would like to pray for you. Okay, let's put ourselves in the presence of God. Lord, as we kick off this values formation program, I pray for Kuya Dodong. Would you continue to inspire him to have the passion for learning and teaching? Continue to shower him with your favors and blessings. I pray also for all the attendees today. Take away any distractions as they embark in their values formation journey. Let their hearts and minds be fertile soil so that these seeds of values that will be sown today will yield fruits of 100 times over than what was sown. We ask this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. A happy learning to everyone.
I would like to thank you for joining the pilot run of Breaking Through. Ang hope ko is sana we can continue this program as long as possible until we are able to influence all working Filipinos and those in business, pati na pamilya nila. Ang hope ko as we transform their values and their character, sana matulungan natin lahat ng Pilipino to really achieve a life of abundance. You know, ang first lesson natin to just kick off this program is about work. And ang title niya is Defining Work. Now, why did I choose this title? Maintindihan niyo mamaya kung bakit ito ang unang lesson natin. But before I go to the meat of the lesson, meron sana akong tanong sa iyo. How do you see your work? Do you see it as a blessing or a burden? Alam mo, karamihan ng tao today have a very negative perspective or view of work, especially if they feel they are not compensated properly. If you follow me in Facebook and YouTube, you would know that I would teach the value of work in many of my lessons. However, I get a lot of feedback where people express their discontent about the work environment in the Philippines. Sabi nila, they feel that the company they work for will exploit them. Nagrereklamo sila that as work is added, hindi naman nadagdagan yung trabaho. So in general, people feel that work is a burden. Alam mo, I have been an employee, a corporate executive, I have been an entrepreneur, and over time, I realized that work is very, very powerful. It can bring all of us a lot of good blessings. However, the reason why people do not see work as a blessing kasi hindi natin siya naintindihan. Ako, in order to appreciate something, I'd like to understand the original definition of things. I go to the old definition because feeling ko yun talaga ang nagde-define. Today kasi in the modern world, we change definition and kaya gumugulo. Like let me give you an example. Today there is a great debate about gender and sex. So, sabi nila, iba yung sex mo at birth, iba yung gender mo kasi gender, napipili yan, it's your choice. So, nung pinapakinggan ko sila, I decided to check the original meaning of gender. Let me share with you what I discovered. The word gender came from a Latin word na genus. Sabi niya, it is the kind or type at birth or from the beginning. Ibig sabihin, gender is still your sex in the beginning. Now, of course, while people can say, I'd like to choose my gender today, okay lang yon. However, in the original meaning, gender and sex were the same. It is your sex when you were born. And because people have a tendency to change definition, for you to understand the power of work, puntahan natin or tingnan natin kung ano ang original meaning ng work. When I check Work comes from an old English word, which is work. Okay, I hope I pronounced that well. But it means the physical and mental effort to achieve a purpose or produce a result. Let me repeat that. Sabi ng original meaning ng work, it's a physical and mental effort needed to achieve a purpose or produce a result. What does this mean? Let me ask you another question. In your life, what purpose do you want to achieve? What result do you want to produce? Don't think about the company you work for. Think about yourself. Ulitin ko, let me ask, in your life, what purpose do you want to achieve or what results do you want to produce? If you ask this to most people, they will say, I would like to have an abundant future. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to enjoy the good things in life. I want to be able to rest once in a while. And one of the biggest issue that people have against work is sabi nila work-life balance. Often daw sa sobrang emphasis sa work, wala nang panahon i-balance siya. Now, let me help you let me help you realize something. Yung lahat ng gusto mo, to travel, to enjoy the good things in life, to build an abundant future, lahat yan sila, mahal, they're expensive. Meron yan siyang cost. So, ang tanong today, can you afford the abundance you desire? Ang totoo sa karamihan sa atin, no, we cannot. Today, many of us cannot afford the abundance we dream of. So ang tanong, how can we afford them kung wala tayong pera? Because people like to enjoy the good things in life, tataya sila sa loto, mag-online sabong sila or airline karera, they will hope to get an inheritance. You know, ako, I always feel sad about this inheritance issue. Kasi minsan pinag-aawayan sila ng pamilya nila. Feeling ng magkapatid na kung sino ang mas malaking makukuha, siya ang mas giginhawa. Kasi gusto natin bilhin yung mga karangyaan na gusto natin. Pero what if hindi ka tumama sa loto? What if wala kang minana? How can you afford this abundant future? Kaibigan, simple lang yan. Magtrabaho ka. Kasi pag nagtrabaho ka, you will be able to someday buy the abundance that you desire. You know, in the future, I will talk about entrepreneurship in some of our lesson. And entrepreneurship, kakaramihan ng mga tao, is about making money. Alam mo ba, na-realize ko, employment is the best way to make money if you do not have money. Pag wala kang pangpuhunan, pag nagtrabaho ka, naging empleyado ka, you can make money without money. And this is the reason why I said work is very important. Kasi pag nag-excel ka, lalaki kita mo, pero pag hindi ka nag-excel, pag nagtamad ka, liliit kita mo, baka mawalan ka pa ng pera. I'd like to explain to you a very important truth. Friends, do you know that God always work? Alam ba nyo that when God created the earth, the Bible tells us that He worked 6 days and rested 1 day. Kung hindi nagtrabaho si God, wala ang mundo na to. Wala rin tayo. So we are the product of God's work. Today, we talk about Jesus. And Jesus came to save all of us from our sin, to bring us to heaven someday. Do you know what he said when he was still here? Sabi ng John chapter 5 verse 17, but he answered them, my Father is working until now, and I myself am working. Alam mo, oftentimes we complain about work. And yet the God we worship and serve, they are continually working today to give us the abundance that we desire. You know, in my third book entitled Creating Wealth and Managing Finances, there is a principle I said there about work. And I said there, only work can make wealth. What do I mean? Sa farm namin, we produce pechay. Ang input niya siguro 5 to 10 pesos. But pag nabenta namin siya sa 28th or 30th day, nabibenta namin siya ng 35 pesos. So anong dinagdag namin para kumita yung 10 pesos maging 35 pesos? Work. Only work. 'Di ba? Ikaw, wala kang pera today, pumasok ka sa opisina, pag-uwi mo, may pera ka. Anong gumawa ng pera? Yung ability mo to work. Kanina I asked you, what purpose do you want to accomplish? What goal do you want to achieve? And many of us will say, an abundant future. Do you know na yan din ang gusto ng Panginoon sa'yo? Kaya in His first command after creating man, sabi niya kay Adam and Eve, in Genesis 1:28 He said, God blessed them and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. The idea of fruitfulness means to have so much abundance na pwede kang mamigay and hindi ka matatakot kasi sobra lang yung pinamigay mo. Isn't that the kind of life we all want? Pero ang tanong, how did God want man to accomplish this purpose? Ang ginawa ni God after He created Adam and Eve, according to Genesis chapter 2 verse 8, God planted a garden in Eden, and there He placed the man whom He had formed. Alam mo, when I read that verse, medyo nalito ako. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, why would God plant a garden when He just created an earth? So He planted a special garden for Adam and Eve, and there He placed both of them. But I was trying to imagine the garden, no? Inisip ko, what kind of garden would that be? I was thinking of a perfect garden, yung bang kumpleto na wala kang kulang. And so what did God want man to do in that garden? Did He just want man to enjoy the garden? Hindi. In Genesis chapter 2 verse 15, we read, it says, then the Lord God took man and put him into the garden of Eden to cultivate it and to keep it. When I read this, lalo akong nalito. Because naisip ko, why would God want man to cultivate a perfect garden? Bakit niya kailangan patrabaho? Do you understand the word cultivating? The word to cultivate is to work hard. Meron pang sinabi yung definition sa Hebrew, it means to slave for the things that you want. To cultivate. So I need you to understand that even God, from the very beginning, wanted us to work. Mahirap ang mag-cultivate ng isang garden. It requires physical and mental work. Now, bakit kailangan ni Adam and Eve magtrabaho? When I was checking the definition of cultivate, ang ibig sabihin din niya is to improve through labor. Improve through labor. I want you to understand that concept. So therefore, kung merong ipinagkatiwala ang Panginoon sa iyo, katulad ng trabaho o negosyo mo, ang gusto niya magtrabaho ka, hindi lang para magtrabaho para makakain. He wants you to improve what you have through labor. Now, ano ang nangyayari pag hindi mo tinabaho mabuti ang binigay na garden ng Panginoon sa iyo? Kung hindi mo inayos ang garden mo, you will take this forest and make it into barren land. Kung hindi mo siya in-improve, what I am showing you is a contrast of the same land. The land on your right is how we found our farm in 1998. The picture on your left is what is our farm today. The reason I'm showing you is because I need you to understand that the Philippines used to be one big forest. Kaso lang because the Filipinos did not know what it means to cultivate, nakalbo natin siya. When we arrived in Bukidnon in 1998, ang lupa namin is yung nakikita mo sa kanan. Today, Ang lupa namin is na nakikita mo sa kaliwa. However, if my children and their children's children stop improving our garden, it would go back to become barren. So I want you to understand ang ibig sabihin ng trabaho hindi lang para kumita para makain. Ang ibig sabihin ng pagtrabaho is kailangan natin pagandahin ang sitwasyon natin. So your work has the power to improve your life today and build a fruitful future. However, there is a second command. And the second command said, keep it. Friends, I need you to understand that you cannot improve something you do not protect. So therefore, you must stay put. Today, many Filipinos, pag hindi na nila gusto yung ginagawa nila, they will leave. They will look for something better. Kasi sabi na tumataas ang sweldo nila habang lumilipat sila. And that may be true. However, hindi talaga lalaki ang sweldo mo ng malaking malaki because every time you jump, you just get a small increment of raise. Kasi kung gusto mo talagang guminhawa, you need to stay put. For you to understand, let me share with you a story. Many years ago, there was this boy who asked me to disciple him or to coach him. And one time, sabi niya sa akin, Tito Dodong, what were you when you were 36 years old? Sabi ko, I was assistant country manager of HP. And that was the time I left for Bukidnon. Tapos sabi niya, you know, my father was a vice president of a big bank when he was 35 years old. And he was 36 already. Sabi niya sa akin, Tito Dodong, what happened to me? Sabi ko sa kanya, kasi lipat ka ng lipat, looking for something better. You did not give yourself time to take root so that you can really be fruitful. You see, maliit ang increase pag yung linilipatan mo same position. You need to be promoted because when you get promoted, yung increase masyadong malaki. That is how you build a fruitful future. Friends, God wants you to have a fruitful future, an abundant one. Pero I need you to understand na hindi aasenso ang taong ayaw magtrabaho. Do you know that science also agree with the idea that work gives you power? According to this quote, sabi niya, power is the rate at which work is done. Even science agree that there is power in work. Let me share with you a story now to show you how work can change the life of a person, of how it can take a person who's heavily in debt to give them an abundant future. There is a story of a widow who went to the prophet Eliza, and we see this story in Second Kings chapter 4 verses 1 to 7. We will read this slowly, and then later I will explain to you and point out to you the things you need to learn from. Verse 1 says, Now a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Eliza, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord, and the creditors have come to take my two children to be their slaves. Verse 2 says, Eliza said to her, What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? And she said, Your maid servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. Verse 3 and 4 says, Then he said, Go borrow vessels at large for yourself from all your neighbors, even empty vessels. Do not get a few. And you shall go in and shut the door behind you and your sons, and pour out into all these vessels, and you shall set aside what is full. Verse 5 says, So she went from him and shut the door behind her and her son. They were bringing the vessels to her, and she poured. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, Bring me another vessel. And he said to her, There is not one vessel more. And the oil stopped. Finally, in verse 7, sabi diyan, then she came and told the man of God, and he said, go sell the oil and pay your debt, and you and your sons can live on the rest. I'd like to reread the verses and show you what happened to this widow. Sabi ng verse 1, this woman or this widow is the wife of the son of a prophet, meaning a good man. Sabi niya kay Eliza, you know that your servant feared the Lord. Alam niyo ba that this problem of debt and money is as old as time? Meaning yung problema natin sa utang and parati tayong kulang ng pera, nangyari yan sa tao in the past, even to this widow and her husband. Even men of God fall victim to the foolish idea of borrowing money in order to survive. So yung widow went to Eliza for help. She went to him for help kasi sabi ng verse 1, the creditors have come to take my two children to be slaves. Do you know that this still happen today? May mga anak na pinapambayad sa utang ng magulang nila. And you see this many times in the province, maybe not in the city, but sometimes also in the city. 'Di ba today, nangyayari pa rin ito, ang taong may utang nagiging alipin ng taong nagpautang. Now, this lady or this widow was a godly person, the wife of a godly person. Think about this. What would be the best thing God can do for this widow? Kung meron siyang utang, ano ang magandang gawin para mabayaran niya? Alam mo, the best thing that God can do is to give the widow money. Alam mo, siguro one day may kumatok sa bahay ng widow, sabi niya, ito na pambayad ng utang, padala ni God. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Kaso lang, hindi yon ang pinagawa ni Eliza. Instead, in verse 2, sabi diyan, Eliza asked the lady, tell me, what do you have in your house? God did not allow Eliza to solve the problem by giving the widow money. Instead, God made Eliza ask the lady, ano bang meron ka? One of the things I will teach you in the future is that you have everything you need to build a fruitful future. Andyan na sa'yo. Kaya nga ang tanong ni Eliza, anong meron ka? This quote says, you can start from where you are with what you've got and go to where it is you want to go. However, to be able to use what you have to build the future that you want, you need to work as did the widow. Ang ginawa ng widow na sabi ni Eliza, manghiram ka ng maraming vessels na paglalagyan ng oil kasi papadamihin ng Panginoon. And then sabi diyan, pour out this oil into the vessel and you shall set aside what is full. May tanong ako sa iyo. Supposing sabi nung babae, ayoko niyan Lord, magtatrabaho pa ako. Gusto ko pera kagad. What will happen to the lady? Supposing God just gave her money para isolve yung problema. Ano ang mangyayari sa babae? Alam mo ang gagawin ng widow pag nakatanggap siya ng pera, pag naubos yun, mangungutang na naman siya. Pag hindi siya nagtrabaho para padamihin yung oil niya, God will not bless her. So work. Work is the solution to many of our pains. In fact, the lack of work is the reason why many of us are where we are today. So as the lady poured out oil, sabi ng verse 5, she went from him and shut the door behind her and her son, and they were bringing vessels to her, and she poured. And they poured out more, and then she was asking for many vessels. Sabi niya, ubos na. So what happened? Look at verse 7. Sabi ng verse 7. Then she came and told the man of God, and she said, go sell the oil and pay your debt, and you and your sons can live on the rest. Even when she poured out the oil, she was still asked, Go and sell. Magtrabaho ka. In the future, we will talk about how to get out of debt. And only work can solve that. Why is work very powerful? Work provides for our daily needs, and work will produce the abundant future that we want. I hope today that we will start on this journey where you will appreciate the work you have. Alam mo, you may feel that the company is unfair, or maybe you feel that the business you have is not the best. I need you to understand what you have today could be converted to the best if you are just willing to work. However, meron din akong na-realize. Kanina sabi ko, walang taong aasenso kung hindi siya magtatrabaho. Pero on the other hand, hindi yayaman ang masipag kung masama ang ugali niya. And this is the reason why next week we will talk about character. Alam niyo, mahirap magnegosyo. Minsan, maganda na yung takbo ng negosyo nyo, biglang pumapangit. And we just don't understand ano nangyayari. We're well-educated, well-funded, mamaya nagko-collapse siya. Bakit? Because there are many things we need to understand in life. Next week, Wednesday, we will talk about character and how you need to add it to your willingness to work in order to build a fruitful future. I really hope this program can help you. Ang hope ko is that all of us will be able to really enjoy the life God wants us to have. Let me just end by sharing with you questions that you can use when you go into breakout sessions. I hope if you are part of a company or maybe mga magkabarkada kayo, I hope you meet with in small groups to discuss these questions so that you can understand how to improve what you have today. I'd like to thank you for patiently listening to me. I hope may natutunan kayo. Sana nag-improve yung pananaw nyo sa trabaho. I will see you next week.
What I've learned in one of the Cirimilio training was to make your work your best friend, for it will prepare you in the future. I attended Similia 2009 when I was employee then, and I applied what I've learned. It's a life-changing seminar and very practical. If you are an employee, be thankful and show respect to the company policy, for this is one step of becoming a leader. Also, build your character and competence. Learn as much, gain much knowledge and wisdom may not always come with a financial gain, but this will strengthen you as you journey in life. Now I am entrepreneur and I keep on practicing what I've learned, and this makes me a good leader. I am Cecil Sibayan, co-founder of App Technology Experts Inc., one of the premier IT solution in the country.
Ayan. Hello, Sir Dodong. Good afternoon.
Rich, thank you, Rich. Thank you for being with me today and thank you for agreeing to host the question and answer portion.
Opo,
Salamat.
it's my honor po, no? So, by the way, hello everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Tan. You could call me Rich for short. No, I'm with Usana Philippines, the #1 vitamins in the world. And we met Sir Dodong way before a pandemic. And we were looking for a very transformative keynote speaker in a retreat. No, kasi we came from a reorganization. No, we came from a very chaotic reorg change management. I'm sure most of you guys, mga corporate, hello Winda, hello everyone, I'm sure most of you guys have experienced reorganizations in your company, change managements in your company, and for some, if not most, very chaotic siya, change leadership, di ba? And we came from that. So we were looking for a mentor, a keynote speaker who would guide us, So after a few sessions and a few leadership sessions, with Sir Dodong, Very unique yung approach niya. Kaya nagtaka ako, parang leadership session, business session, pero Bible lang approach, no? Very unique, no? And right now, I could proudly say, no, because of his sessions and guidance, no, sa aming organization, we are now the largest, no, contributor here in the Philippines and in the whole Europe. Okay? We are the largest organization here in the Philippines and in Europe, no? And sobrang thank you, Sir Dodong, for those sessions. I can't wait for you guys and your organization and your companies to really hear him out and apply yung mga lessons, no, na mapupulot natin sa kanya. Okay? So, simulan natin ang question and answer para sa lahat. So, tingnan natin ang mga may I invite you guys to open your cameras if kaya nyo mag-open ng camera. Although sa Pilipinas, di ba, only in the Philippines, pag nag-open ng camera, bumabagal. So, ayan, di ba? Galing ko lang kasi sa Singapore. Ingit na ingit ako sa internet nila. Okay? Hello, everyone. So, we have 30 minutes for Q&A. Okay? So, paano natin gagawin to? First come, first serve ba? Okay, let's see ang chat group, no? Or kung if you want to unmute yourself, please unmute yourself. And if you have a question for us and for Sir Dodong, please do. O, diba? Complete na complete sila, Bea and Bea Marie, complete na complete sila. Yes, teka. Raise your hand to us. Wow, may raise hand pala ang Zoom. Tama. Para organize tayo, no?
Meron gusto magtanong, okay, para maximize natin yung 30 minutes natin. You have any question?
O, di ba? So,
I have a question.
yes, sino po sila?
Winda.
Hello, Miss Winda.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss Winda Gonzalez. How are you?
Fine. Kasi nakalagay kanina yung other schedules, no?
Yes.
Which is weekly. Are we going to use the same link, same password? I mean, a same Zoom meeting ID?
Same ba, Lloyd?
Brother Lloyd.
Same po,
Technical.
Same po.
Same po. So, okay.
Okay.
May nag-question. Finish na po, Miss Winda.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Winda. So, may nag-question dito. May I inquire from Anna Bryan, no? May I inquire on the life and work balance? Ano ang perspective ni Sir Dodong sa life and work balance?
Okay, akin lang to ha, sana wag kayong ma-offend ha. You know, I struggle with that work-life balance even when I was in HP. Kasi sabi, di ba, dapat habang nagtatrabaho ka, nag-e-enjoy ka rin. Now, this is a perspective coming from an entrepreneur. Alam mo, na nagsimula ako magtrabaho, you see, you also want work-life balance, di ba? Nagtatrabaho ka, kumikita ka habang nag-e-enjoy ka. Kaso ito lang ang nangyayari. Minsan hindi ka pa ready mag-enjoy kasi wala ka pang pera. So gastos ka ng gastos, mamaya wala ka ng pera para sa negosyo mo. Now, if you follow me, you know that I always explain things through the ways of the plant. Ano ang balance ng tanim? Ang balance ng tanim, for a while, hindi siya mag-e-enjoy o hindi siya maglalabas ng fruit kasi nagpapalaki siya. I really believe there is a time for enjoyment in the proper season, in the proper time. You know, minsan sabihin lang, entrepreneurship, pag entrepreneurship, I can do what I want, when I want, and how I want. Hindi totoo yun. When you are starting, you cannot enjoy life in the beginning because you have to grow your business. To me, work-life balance comes in the proper season. Like for example, I hear this from millennials, no? Bakit ka ba pasyal ng pasyal? Bakit ka ba bili ng bili? Kasi sabi ng mga millennials or mga mas bata, no? You know, I don't like what happened to my parents. They work hard and then they only enjoy their life when they are old. Di ba? When may pera na sila when they are old. So there was this girl. who came from Bukidnon, punta siya ng Manila, and so she worked for a big bank. And then may kita ko, may kaibigan siya ng anak ko, so kinikwento sa akin every weekend namamasyal. So sabi ko sa anak ko, Denise, how can she afford that? No? So when I finally met the girl, sabi ko, why do you do that? Sabi niya, kasi tito, I'd like to enjoy life early. Sabi ko sa kanya, sige iha, gawin mo yung tuloy-tuloy. Pagtanda mo, mahirap ka. I hope naintindihan yung sinasabi ko. I believe in enjoying life. But you enjoy life in the proper season. There is a time to work. There is a time to rest. There is a time to enjoy. 'Di ba? Mas maganda mag-enjoy ng pera. 'Di ba? Ano ibig sabihin? Nalit pa sweldo mo, so ang pasyal mo mall mo lang. Kasi every weekend inuubos mo sa mall. Hindi minsan maganda yung tiniis mo yung mall, hindi ka nag-mall, and then mamaya bimahe ka. Kasi mas marami ka ng ipon. So, yun ang belief ko sa work-life balance. I want all of you to enjoy life. I do not believe na kuripot din tayo that we deprive ourselves of good things. Pero ang belief ko lang, let's do it in the proper season. If you insist on enjoying life when you're supposed to be growing your money, ano pang ipunin mo? Paano palalakihan? So yan lang ang take ko. I know it's different from what most people believe in, kasi ang belief ng ibang tao, work-life balance, magtrabaho tayo, mag-enjoy tayo, okay lang sa akin yan. Pero pag nag-enjoy ka kagad habang bata ka pa, huwag ka nang umasa na marami kang pera pagtanda mo. Pagtanda mo, magtatrabaho ka pa rin. Okay? Rich, I hope nakatulong yan, Rich.
Yes, no. Umaapaw Sir Dodong ang question natin, no? Umaapaw, no? So, next question, no? Eto, babasahin ko po. My present company have not extended my probationary status for the reason that I have not met the required qualification. I find it very disappointing since I really badly needed that work. So, anong masasabi mo, Sir Dodong?
Okay. Di ba, we work with principles, and there are certain principles that will remain forever. The company did not extend your probationary period only because they feel you did not meet it. Now, unfortunately, so some of us will say, no, how can they not make me a regular when I did my best? Alam niyo yun, parati tayo, I did my best, so bakit ako diniprive ng blessing? Ito ang ngayon ang kailangan ko maintindihan nyo. In fact, I am creating a program, Rich, called Overcoming Depression in the Workplace. And maybe in a few months, we'll release that. And one of the biggest depression point of people, boss, ginawa ko yung best ko. Pero ba't hindi mo ko reward? Kasi yung best mo, pag hindi tama sa boss mo yon, hindi pa rin yun i-reward. Most of us insist that I have done my best. Pero ang tanong ko, yung best mo ba tama sa boss mo? Di ba? Minsan pinipilit mo yung gusto na ayaw ng boss mo. So minsan magtatanong sila, paano ko malalaman ano gusto ng boss ko? Di tanungin mo yung boss mo. Magsasabi naman yan eh. So you made a presentation, your boss rejected it. Ano ibig sabihin? Hindi acceptable yung ginawa mo para sa boss mo. Now, to that person na nagtanong, I want all my people to become regular. Pero i-regular ko lang ang taong karapat-dapat. Bakit? Kasi pag ni-regular ko yung hindi tamang tao, ako mapapahamak in the future. I will not also take that risk. So pag hindi nila regular, it's just the boss telling you, uy, kulang yung ginawa mo. So wag mong sabihin na, I deserve that. No. Only the boss can say, you deserve that because you met the requirement. Instead na magsabi ka, they are unfair. They are not unfair. People, gusto ko maintindihan ito ng lahat ng empleyado. Bosses do not want to be unfair. Mahirap maghanap ng tao, ha? Di ba? Probationary ka, 6 months ka, tapos tatanggalin lang kita. Ang hirap nun, ha? Sinayang ko yung 6 months. Di ba? Pero, pag at least din yung future ko, pag kinuha kita, tapos ganyan ugali mo, ayoko rin yun. Di ba? Take that as a feedback. Your boss is telling you kulang pa. So, ayusin mo. Okay? So, Rich, yun lang, Rich. Sana nakatulong yan.
Okay, next question, no? Thank you very much. We are experiencing, no, from Sir Erwin Arar, we are experiencing employees that are threatened sa new employees na pumapasok, no? It sometimes lead them para takutin ang mga ito with lies about the company. Salamat po in advance.
Okay, so anyway, Erwin, let me just answer that. Totoo yun. Yung tumatagal, natitreaten sa bago, especially pag yung bago masipag. Now, kaya nga it is important that we teach our people the right values. Anong ibig sabihin right values? One of the things na ituturo ko sa inyo, especially in character, is you want to always improve what you have. Minsan, no, people, masaya na sila, andun na sila, happy na ako dito. You see, do you know that a plant starts dying when it stops growing? Ulitin ko ha. When a plant stops growing, it starts dying. Because hindi na siya magproduce ng mga bagong branches, ng mga bagong roots. Ganon din ang tao. When a person stops growing, he starts dying. Now, isa pa to. Technology is now coming. Technology is really changing the workplace. Now, however, technology will not replace you. Technologies are tools. Pero pag hindi ka rin nag-adapt, siyempre, sasabihin ng boss, ay magbago na tayo kasi magbago tayo ng tao kasi nagbabago ng panahon. So, kailangan ka rin mag-adapt. So, yung mga empleyado nyo na natatakot, we need to teach them na nasa kanila ang power to adapt so that they will always be relevant. Di ba companies? Do not think that companies are unfair for wanting people to be productive because kailangan ng kumpanya kumita. Parang ano ibibigay sa empleyado pag walang kita? So yung empleyado rin dapat din mag-strive na meron siyang ma-contribute. So kung yun lang ang alam niya, tapos hindi niya na in-improve, wala siyang contribution, hindi mo rin masisisi yung kumpanya to look for someone better. Okay? Ang belief ko, ang baguhin natin yung mindset ng tao. Dapat ka hindi ma-threaten kung parati kang nag-grow. Tapos Rich, gusto ko sana dagdag to. Happy ka na sa trabaho mo. Di ba? May dumadating na tao. Baka kunin ng trabaho mo. Ito naman ang tanong ko. Ba't ka naman happy dyan sa trabaho mo? Di ba dapat gumaganda yung trabaho mo, umaasenso, nagiging kang manager, lumalaki sweldo? Di ba dapat yun ang ambisyon? Bakit ka natatakot palitan? Di ba dapat nga matuwa kang palitan pag aasenso ka kasi aakyat ka? Di ba dapat? Kaya nga lesson natin, di ba? Ang lesson natin, you improve your garden. Dapat masaya ka na may papalit na sa'yo kasi napropromote ka. Pero pag ang takot mo, baka may pumalit sa akin, ang lungkot naman ng buhay mo. Kasi yan lang ambisyon mo. Dapat ang gusto natin, umaakyat yung sweldo natin, umaakyat yung posisyon natin, gumiginhawa yung buhay natin. Yun ang essence ng trabaho. Okay?
Ayan. So, I agree with you, no, Sir Dodong. Kailangan win-win tayo. No, win-win yung part ng employee, win ng part ng company. Okay? And continuous growth. No? Ako rin, I've experienced that na nagkaroon ng time na yung growth ko nag-slow down, pero na-realize ko effect rin yun sa akin. Kumbaga, business ko rin ang natamaan, organization ko rin ang natamaan. No, kaya ako ang mindset ko right now, it's always about growth. In skills, in mindset, in attitude, no? So, ayan.
Rich,
Now,
Rich, pwede ko bang sagutin lang to? Meron
sure.
kay ko, no, sabi niya, I think she is referring to work-life balance on a daily basis in the workplace. So, balansehin lang natin, no? Sige, sagutin ko yun. Work-life balance on a daily basis. Ayusin lang natin to on stages. Alam mo, when you are young and building your career, ang belief ko, you give your life to that career to grow your skill so that in the future, na-promote ka. Pag na-promote ka, tumaki sweldo mo, mas marami ka ng oras na libre. Habang na-promote ka, mas marami kang oras na libre. But if you're not willing to give more to your work, pagsimula pa lang, hindi ka aabot sa panahon na mas marami kang oras na libre. Gusto na yung iba, let me share with you a story. Meron akong kaibigan, he was expanding his business. Nakita siya ng babae, ang galing ng babae, very bright yung babae. And so he was hoping na yung will become manager in the future. So they had this big event. Pero on a parang holiday. So naka-prepare na sila. Rich, pagkatapos all of a sudden nung weekend nawala yung babae. Nawala, nag-awol. Tawag siya, hindi niya makontak, text siya, hindi sumasagot. So nung Monday pumasok yung babae. Sabi niya, nasaan ka? We had this big event. Sabi niya sa boss niya, boss, my weekend is my weekend. Nobody can touch my weekend. So now ang tanong ko, ikaw ang boss, what will you do? Na hindi mo siya pwede maasahan in major events, what will you do? Because yung bata, gusto niya ng work-life balance habang bata pa siya. So I hope that makes sense. Basta there's a certain time, there's a proper time to really enjoy life. Okay? So yung sinasabi niyo on the daily basis, depende yan kung nasan ka sa stage ng career mo. Sa simula, I really believe you need to give time to your work so that in the future, you will have more time for yourself. Kasi manager ka na-promote ka na, mas marami ka ng pera. So I'd like to address that, Rich.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Dodong, no? And kanina, no, before mag-raise ng hand si Jewel Kagakit, no, nag-raise ng hand si Corp Chap, no? Corp Chap, meron ka bang question?
Sino yun, Rich? Meron yan silang pangalan beside it eh.
Oo nga, maraming Corp Chap eh.
Mga corporate chaplain yan.
Oo nga eh. Ma'am Ito, sino po yung Corp Chap na nag-raise ng hand? Si Ace.
Okay, good afternoon po. Actually, good afternoon po, Sir Dodong and Sir Rich. Okay, hindi ko pa ma-open yung ano ko kasi I'm using data only, yung camera ko. Pero ang question nyo kasi is synonymous doon kanina kay Sir Erwin, ano po, which I experienced din before. I'm actually working before in a private company, actually hotel industry. And medyo alam natin politics is naandyan talaga yung politics parati, may politika talaga. So one thing is kapag may tendency tayo, kapag papasok tayo sa isang kampanya bago pa na tayo, meron tayong tendency na magpakitang gilas ba? Hello po. So kumbaga we as a Christian or as a believer, we have the mindset na dapat we have to give our best. Kaya lang ang nangyayari kasi yun nga yung mga veterans diyan sa company, ayaw kanilang mag-succeed o maging maayos yung work mo. So that is why they do everything para hindi ka talaga umangat. So and yun nga, paminsan talagang masisira din yung testimony mo kasi minsan napipilitan kang patulan talaga sila. So how would you deal with it?
That's a very interesting question, no? Okay, nasabi mo na ang tao sa kumpanya sa loob ayaw kang umangat. So they will, pagpasok mo, they will do everything para hindi ka umasenso. Now, that's a very interesting conclusion. Kasi ang kumpanya hindi mag-hire ng tao na hindi niya kailangan. You see, kaming mga employer, we are also trying to control our expenses, especially sa tao. So pag nag-hire silang tao, siguradong kailangan niya ng kumpanya. Now, sabi mo, Ace, na ginawa mo yung best mo, pinigilan ka nila, magkaroon ng politics. Now you have to understand, okay? Okay, paano ba sabihin to? I have this lesson in the future, and maybe we will talk about it. I'll talk about rejection. When people do not like you, oftentimes, di ba, sa internet sasabihin natin, no? Gawin mo yung gusto mo, pag ayaw nila sa'yo, bahala sila may problema. Hindi totoo yun. You see, when people start to reject you, it's just a feedback mechanism to tell you, oy, parang hindi namin gusto yung ginagawa mo. Pero pag gusto nila ginagawa mo, people will easily accept you. So, when people start to reject you, ang tanong dapat natin, ano bang kulang ko? Ano bang mali ko? Unfortunately, most of us, kaya politics na yan, no? Politics, I've seen that many times doon sa mga feedback sa mga blogs namin. When I say, when your boss gets angry, no, wag kang lalaban sa may politics, wag ganon. Those are excuses. Because if you really want to improve in your career, you must learn how to handle politics. You must really learn how to handle people. Hindi ka aasenso, and this is part of the skill you must learn, and also the character. So gusto ko lang explain, no? Gusto ko lang explain. When people reject you, they're just telling you, hindi nila gusto yung style mo. Now, very, very important sinabi mo. Minsan nasisira yung testimony ko. Kasi dahil sa ginawa nila. Di ba kaya nga testimony? Kasi dapat, pag may ginawa silang mali sa'yo, tama pa rin ang gagawin mo. How can someone destroy your testimony? Some people can never destroy your testimony. Pinapalabas lang nila ang totoo. Supposing may nasabi silang masama, nag-react ka. Did they destroy your testimony? No. They just allowed you to bring out what is true. Pinapalabas yung totoo. So maybe you stay long, okay? You stay longer because we will understand that. In my teaching, I always say, the only person you can change is you. Stop changing the people around you because you cannot. The only person you can improve is you. So kung hindi mo kaya mag-improve where you are today, maski saan ka lumipat, maski lumipat ka ng kumpanya, mauulit yan. Kasi hindi yan tungkol sa kanila. Tungkol yan sa'yo. Okay, Rich?
No, thank you very much, Sir Dodong, for that wonderful, no?
Thank you.
So, next question, we have Sir Joel Kagakit, no? Gusto mag-unmute?
Hello, Sir Dong. Hello, Sir Rich.
Yes, Joel.
Ayun, sa pool yung iniisip ko kanina pa doon sa mga question. Ngayon, gusto kong baliktarin yung sitwasyon. Paano kung halimbawa na na-overcome mo na yung politics, na-handle mo na siya ng magaling, tapos na-secure mo yung job security mo kasi you're very good at it. Pero paano yung sitwasyon na ikaw yung go-to guy ng boss mo? Everything na lang sa'yo lahat. Na kahit hindi na siya sakop ng job function mo, kailangan mong gawin kasi you're so very good at it. So, yung mga ganong situation po ba is may karapatan magreklamo? Yun lang po. Thank you.
Ang tanong ko, Joel, ba't ka magreklamo? Go-to guy ka nga, ibig sabihin may tiwala sa'yo. So,
I mean, sir, Dong, yung tipong nauubos yung lakas mo pero nakaya mo pa rin pero at some point parang pagod na ako. Parang
Joel,
lampas na to. Parang ganun, sir.
Okay, explain ko ha. Dalawa, I think, issue mo. Na-overwhelm ka, and then minsan sabihin mo, wala na akong oras para sa sarili ko. So ito na ngayon, mga comment ng empleyado, grabe ang haba ng oras. Wala na ako para sa sarili ko. Tapos, ang daming binibigay sa akin. Kaya dalawang bagay ha. Ang mga empleyado, reklamo na ang haba ng oras nila. Pero gusto nila maging entrepreneur. Di ba gusto nyo maging negosyante, di ba? Alam ba nyo ang negosyante dapat magtrabaho 24/7? Ngayon palang empleyado ka palang nagrereklamo ka sa oras mo. Di ba? Ang haba naman, 8 hours, 10 hours. Pag naging entrepreneur ka, you must be willing to work 24/7. Itong kaibigan kong si Rich, okay? Sa iyo sana yan. Babiyahin ng malayo yan kasi gusto niya mag-improve negosyo niya. Hindi magpapahinga yan. Kasi negosyante siya. So ito na ngayon problema ko. Hindi mo ba naiintindihan, Joel? Baka hinahanda ka lang ni God sa mas magandang opportunity. Ngayon na binigyan ka ng opportunity, pinagkatiwalaan ka, reklamo ka ng reklamo. Ba't sabihin, anak, ba't kita bibigyan ng mas marami? Reklamo ka nga ng reklamo ngayon. Sige anak, hindi na kita bigyan ng mas marami. Anong gusto mo? Diba? One, pinagkatiwalaan ka, binigyan ka ng mas marami. Sabi, naubos lakas ko. Sabi ko nga sa iyo, at a certain stage, di ka kailangan mag-work-life balance kasi magtrabaho ka. Pag na-promote ka, sikat ka na, di ba? Tapos gusto mo maging negosyante. Pero humahaba oras, 10 hours sa work, ayoko na. Sabi ni God, sige anak, huwag na muna kita bigyan kasi nagre-reklamo ka eh. Naintindihan mo ko, Joel? Gusto nyo na magandang future. Kanina may nakita ako sa tanong eh. What if the employee is happy with where he is, ayaw niya nang umakyat? Simple lang yan. Okay lang yan. Huwag kang mag-ambisyon ng mas malaking sweldo. Huwag kang mag-ambisyon ng magandang sahod. Huwag kang mag-ambisyon ng magandang retirement. Happy ka lang pala dyan ka eh. Di ba? Reklamo tayo ng reklamo, pero mas gusto natin mas malaking sweldo, gusto natin ng negosyo, gusto natin ng ganito. Pero pag pinatrabaho na tayo, ayoko na. Gusto sabihin sa negosyo.
Follow-up question, ano ba to? Follow-up question, ano ba to? Yung nakalimutan ko na.
Sorry. Segundahan ko yung sinabi ni Sir Dodong, no? Naintindihan kita, Sir Jewel, no? Kasi I came from work, I came from employment. 12 years po ako nag-work, no? In different companies. And ganun din, maraming pinapagawa, overwork, and tag dito, kaya ko ginagawa kasi alam ko kaya ko pang gawin, no? Pero it came to a point na, teka, parang dapat mas mataas sahod ko kasi marami akong ginagawa Tama ba? I think yun lang naman yung source na yun di ba? Kasi hindi ka naman magrereklamo kung okay yung compensation tama? So, pero ang na-realize ko, para tumaas ang compensation mo, either ma-promote ka or magnegosyo ka. Now, I've been doing business for 13 years already, no? And totoo po yung sinabi ni Sir Dodong. When you're an entrepreneur, walang oras po yan. Okay, hindi po siya 8 to 5. Number 2, walang job description po yan, no? Kung kailangan mo gawin yung HR, kung kailangan mo gawin yung accounting, kung kailangan mo gawin yung engineering, kung kailangan mo gawin yung marketing, gagawin mo po. And I guess, totoo yung sinasabi Sir Dodong, no? God is preparing you for something bigger. Kaya binibigyan ka ng malaking role, no? So titignan mo lang siya in that way. Kasi kung titignan mo siya in that way, as long as hindi siya sagabal sa health mo, 'di ba? As long as hindi siya sagabal sa physical health mo, no? At meron kang work, 'di ba? Sabi nga ni Sir Dodong employment is the best venue for you to train yourself to be an entrepreneur. Bakit? Libreng training no? You're not taking the risk, the company is taking the risk, not you. Okay? So, pag entrepreneur ka, lahat ng risk na sa'yo. Okay? Kung di ka gumalaw, wala kang kitain. Sa employment, may sahod tayo. Every 15 at 30. No? So yun, parang in that perspective. So, thank you very much, Sir Dodong, for giving that perspective to me as well. Okay? So,
ito Sir Rich, Sir Dong, naalala ko na.
yun, game.
Follow-up question lang po. Pag sinabi po bang success, ang meaning po nun is you can have it all. You may be succeeded on this, but you can have this on the left. Lagi po bang may sacrifice? Like, hindi mo talaga makuha lahat.
Okay, kayo kasi you define success in terms of monetary things or things you want. So siguro Joel, kagutin lang kita. Somebody asked me before, sabi niya, how do you know that you're successful already? Dong, are you successful already? Sabi ko sa kanya, you know, I never dream of being successful. I only dream of being faithful. Whatever God gives to me, I will do well. Yung success is a reward. Hindi hinahabol yan. Dumadating yan. So kayo, marati kayo nakatingin sa dulo. Wala pa nga kayo sa dulo, yun lang iniisip nyo yung dulo. Mag-enjoy na lang kayo sa kung nasaan kayo. Enjoy the journey. Ako, ganun ako. I never dream of being successful. I dream of being faithful. Today, God has made me successful as a reward.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Dodong. And merong sinabi si Ma'am Eden, I have a friend like that. She kept accepting the work they gave her. After 7 years, she is now occupying the highest position possible in her distributorship. She was honed by the work and the tasks that she kept accepting.
Thank you, Ma'am Eden. Thank you for that. Okay.
May next question pa tayo.
Last na lang, Rich, kasi 5 o'clock na, ha, Rich?
Opo. What's the best advice by MT? What's the best advice to the fresh graduates' mental health? Knowing that this generation have a different lifestyle from the other generation in the workplace.
Okay. MT, thank you for that question, because today it's a very it's a question, it's a concern that is heavy on my heart because my people in my family went through that mental health issue. Pero baka I hope I will not offend you in my answer. Kasi I really believe there should be no mental health issue. The only reason nagkakaroon tayo ng mental health issue is because hindi tayo naturuan how to respond properly. Alam mo, kami noon, when we were young, in our generation, tama, you talk about our generation. In our generation, itutulak ka sa swimming pool, tapos sabi sa'yo, lumangoy ka, bahala ka. Di ba? Today, in our generation, dapat may coach ka, dapat ganituhin ka, dapat alagaan ka. So, now ang nangyayari today, parang you are told na ganito ang buhay. Kailangan kang tulungan. So pag hindi ka tinulungan, sumasama loob mo. Katulad kanina, no, sinagot ko, sabi ko, di ba? Most people today yung nagsabi, I did my parents, my boss did not accept my best. Kasi nga, your best was not right. In our generation, pag rineject ng boss yung trabaho ko, hahanapan ko ng paraan, ano ba yung tama para sa boss ko? So, in the future, I would like to help you all about mental health issue. Kaya nga, I'm coming up with this series on overcoming depression in the workplace. Kasi ang belief ko, pag tama lang ang response natin, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng mental health issue. Di ba? Ano ibig sabihin? Kanina, di ba, may nagtanong, patapos na yung probationary ko. Hindi ako irregular. So ngayon, ang tanong mo, bakit unfair yung kumpanya? Ako, I will teach you, dapat ang respond dyan, anong ginawa ko na hindi pumayag yung kumpanya? How can I improve myself? If I think that the company is unfair, I will feel bad. If I believe that meron ko kailangang improve, then hindi sasama loob ko, I will just strive to be better. So hopefully, this program will also help you in mental health. I really hope that none of us will go through it because it's very painful. Pagtulungan na lang natin yan. Okay?
Okay, Sir Dodong, thank you very much for answering the questions, no? Alam kong bitin na bitin tayo lahat. Okay, pero 5 o'clock na. And that was the last question. And don't worry, we have another session for next week. And I hope that you learned a lot today and you were blessed by today's webinar. And maraming matutulungan itong webinar na to, nitong Values Formation Program. And I hope you do share to all your co-employees, for your co-friends, no?